Do not follow where the path may lead. Go instead where there is no path and leave a trail. Ralph Waldo Emerson. The 2009 Industry Leadership Award winner transcends all stereotypes of just a farmer. He has been a cattleman, a farmer, a political advocate, a community leader, a father, husband, a friend, and philanthropist. This year's winner is a man beyond description, Bud Mercer. Bud Mercer was born with agriculture in his blood. Growing up in Prosser, Bud farmed with his father Milt in a range and feedlot cattle operation. That was just the beginning. In an attempt to bring water to the cattle operation, Bud was a forerunner in resolving a larger need, bringing irrigated water to the Horse Heaven region.
Well, Dad was involved in the cattle operation in the late 50s and early 60s, and was right behind my granddad in putting water out on the cattle ranch.
This venture helped convert their existing cattle and dry land grain farming into circle irrigation. That effort also had long-term monumental impact for farmers who would work this ground for decades to come.
Dad saw this great opportunity to bring more value to the area, but not necessarily our family doing it. So he sort of created a water district that private users could gain access to water from the river through our pump station. So,
in the 80s, when the water issues became very important and dam removal became a real hot button item, Bud Mercer called a meeting of a bunch of people. It was an informal group, and he formed the basis of what is now today known the Columbia Snake River Irrigation Association, and Bud was their first president. Without that group starting, I doubt very much if the potato industry would have the water available to raise potatoes that we do today. Bud's ability to look down the road is not matched by anybody else I've ever run into in agriculture.
Bud Mercer has a reputation of challenging and experimenting with the limits of crops that could be grown in the Columbia Basin. This tenacity and vision has been the secret to his tremendous success.
He's able to both initiate things, and then he's willing, because of the tenacity, to sit down and keep working things until get to a completion, until you're able to get through them. A lot of tenacity and a lot of, I will lead by example. I will work on this. I'm going to spend the time and the energy to get things done. And that makes it a lot easier to ask other people then to come and, put your time and energy into this and we can make it work.
Integrity, intelligence, a dedication that most people in agribusiness should envy.
Bud has raised several crops on their 8,000 acres known as Mercer Canyons. These crops have included sugar beets, carrots, sweet corn, onions, and of course, potatoes. They also operate a fresh pack operation as well as a vineyard and winery.
I met him many years ago in Montana when he was herding sheep. In fact, he was a teenager at the time. And I had to I got to know him because Bud's first love, when he was just getting into puberty, was a lady named Flossie, and here's a picture of her. Now, Bud was raised with sheep all his life. His grandfather and his father had sheep ranch, but Flossie she had eyelashes, 1.5 inches long, and she was kind of fickle. And ran off with a ram from Jerome, Idaho. Broke Bud's heart. It just warped him for relationships from then on in his life. And I think that's why he got married so young. He was kind of on the rebound.
Bud Mercer touts a 47-year history in leadership and agriculture and a tremendous resume of community service and accomplishments.
The Mercer family has just done tremendous work for Prosser, the city of Prosser. It has just been absolutely a dream for any small city to have, and they've done wonders. They're a real addition to, wonderful addition to Prosser.
Been a huge amount of things that have happened, not only for just Mercer Canyons, but for the area that Dad was directly responsible for making that happen.
Mercer has been the recipient of many awards, including the prestigious Stu Bledsoe Award presented by the Ag Forestry Foundation and Prosser's Outstanding Citizen. He has also served as a commissioner for the WSPC from 1989 to 1996 and on the National Potato Promotion Board for 6 years between 1976 and 1982. Bud was also on the Potato Committee from 1987 to 1992.
Well, I think of Bud as an Old Testament figure. It's as if he has this covenant with the people of Eastern Washington and with Olympia. And if we all just agree to deal competently and honestly with issues, then the state will succeed, irrigated agriculture will succeed, Eastern Washington will succeed. But he's truly an Old Testament figure in his stature and how he approaches things.
Bud and his wife Patsy have 5 children, 14 grandchildren, and 2 great-grandchildren. Though known by most as an astute, successful businessman and community leader, his family knows him as sincere, fun-loving, and occasionally a prankster.
You know, Bud learned to play the guitar later in his life. Patsy plays the fiddle, and they would entertain at different events, and very upbeat music, which just goes to show that a good woman can teach an old guy new tricks, and she did that quite well.
I was also responsible, I've got to take a lot of credit for that, for he went through about 3 years of patriotism that got a little out of hand. He tried to even grow a little beard and got a stovepipe hat and practiced America, he got a little carried away, but I got him some striped red, white, and blue pants. And all of a sudden, he started humming, da, 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 da. I mean, he was really getting ridiculous and was going to get into politics. And finally, Patsy just said, that's enough, quit saluting everybody. And but I got him into it. I'm the one that made him a true American. I take full credit.
And so they bought snowmobiles, and Dad was all about going out with my brother and snowmobiling, and I happened to come home one time for that. Dad demonstrated the ability to load a snowmobile onto a trailer. And the trailer, of course, was leaned back a little bit, and the tracks were, or the skis were on the trailer, and the tracks were on a patch of ice, which couldn't gain any traction. And so Dad demonstrated how if you run the tracks fast enough, it'll eventually melt the ice and catch onto the pavement. And unfortunately, when he did that, the snowmobile launched off the trailer with Dad doing the first snowmobile Superman into the back of his Ford Explorer, which happened to have the tailgate open. So those are the kind of fun adventures that Dad was great to have along for.
Despite all one may know and experience about Bud, one thing resounds among everyone who knows him. Even greater than his loyalty to family, generous philanthropy, or successful career, Bud Mercer is a true gentleman.
I can't think of anyone who has had such a positive effect on so many people. Virtually everyone he comes in contact with, he walks away with some sort of positive feeling is left in their hearts or in their minds, and something very good is always accomplished.
Well, Bud, you really have meant a lot to me. I've too often in agriculture, us tough farmers don't tell people how much we appreciate them.
Well, what I would say to Bud is, Bud, thank you for all the good things that you've done for so many people, and thank you for all of the leadership and the confidence you've given Eastern Washington. We very much appreciate it, and we love everything you've done.
He's probably, next to my father, one of the most gentle men I've ever met, and smart, and a backbone straight as an arrow. I've just really enjoyed getting to know him, and we've had a lot of fun together.
And congratulations on the award. It's most deserved, and there's a lot of people that are very appreciative for all the things you've done for them. So thanks, Ed.
I appreciate your family involvement, and I appreciate you giving us Rob to further your work you've done. He's going to be just another man like you were, and thank you very much, Bud. You're very deserving of this award.